Hi there, it's Rob Sayer. Welcome to the second in a series of videos on drawing stage lighting plans in 2D using AutoCAD. In this short video we're going to look at adding some extra attributes to our lighting symbols and also ways in which we can display and use them. So first off, we're going to pop over to AutoCAD. Now if you remember in the last video, what we did is we took a piece of geometry in this drawing here and we also added a colour attribute here. Well, what I've done for this next video is I've put out some other suggested attributes that could be wrapped into this block. So the attributes we've got for display around the lantern unit itself are the colour, obviously, the channel, details about the accessory, perhaps that might be something in this case to do with the gobo number or something, and also the purpose. And this purpose, I've actually rotated it so that it moves up and down the drawing rather than sits across the lantern. It just sometimes helps if you have a particularly long purpose, good number of letters in the purpose. It means sometimes it helps fit better on the drawing. I could actually make a nicer job of aligning all this and stuff. But the other thing I want you to notice is I've also suggested some other data here. On the left hand side I've got three other bits of data. Those bits of data are not necessarily going to be displayed on our drawing, and they are going to help when we come to extract the data in order to turn it into paperwork, things like channel schedules and stuff like that. Actually, you could make all of your lighting blocks up with loads and loads more data, and of course you don't have to display it all. So what the plan is basically is that anything around the lantern is going to be displayed, and everything that's off to the side here is going to be hidden. So what I would do is spend some time putting these attributes into the block itself, and particularly think of any defaults and stuff. Now the thing with the thing like the position is that the position for me is where the unit's going to be hung or what it's going to be rigged to, and it's handy to be able to put that in because then that can then be extracted again and go back into your schedules and your data. For instance, it might be that you want to use your LX bar numbers or whatever it is. The hidden data here, which is the wattage, for me is just a straight integer of how many watts it is, so 500 or 1000. I wouldn't tend to put in a W to denote watts or anything because, again, when we extract the data, I want to take it out and turn it into something I can use in a spreadsheet program to manipulate it. The last hidden one at the top here is basically I've called type. Now, when we named the block, we named it Source4 Junior. But there might be a reason why that block name is not descriptive enough for us, and we may want to put in other details about a particular type of lantern or any particular extras or details about the title or the lamp type or the whether a par is a CP61 or whatever it happens to be. And that may not be appropriate to put into the block name. We could also use the one block to do multiple lantern types, but when we extract the data, what we want to do is if we are using two different types and they are similarly using the same block, for instance whether it comes to par lamps or whatever, we might want to put the title in there. So I've got type in there. If you don't use it, you could just use the name of the block. I'm looking ahead really to when we take the data back out again. So this is the kind of idea we're going for here, and what I've got here is an example of this, the block itself. So currently this block is displaying just the open white because I haven't filled any data into it. If I double click on the block, I get the attribute editor up, and of course then I have all these different attributes that I've put in place. Now if you remember, when we set the attributes, there was an option to set the text itself in terms of size and rotation and things like that. We could change them all here, we could set them all here. The other thing is that if we were actually to set the attributes, these particular attributes over here, the hidden ones, don't forget there was an option to set the attribute to be invisible as well. And so that's what I've got here. I've also put each of these attributes on their own label layer as well. If we look at the block itself, if we edit the block, so we just go into block edit, you can see here what I've got. So we've got all of these attributes, and as I say, these ones are set to invisible. Close that away, go to insert a block, pick this particular block, pop it down, gel, I don't know, 117, front cover, or front special or something. A gobo, put a number in there, channel number, or I just could call it, 120. There's some detail here about the make and model. The number of watts this one is, say maybe this one's a 575 by default, but maybe with a different lantern type. Obviously, like for instance, a source for zoom, you could have a 750 or 575. Which position it's hung on? Now, in this case, I'm going to say it's hung on LX3. Now, once we've done that, we obviously have all of this data appears, and we can copy those up and we can change them and stuff. And don't forget, in order to edit edit the channel number, double click on the lantern, pick the actual attribute itself. Let's say we're going to plug it into 119 now. Okay, so let's give you an idea of how we can make our original base lantern symbol more useful, because each one of these now has data attached to it. And some of the data is visible to us on the drawing, but some of it is hidden, and actually you could extend this data here, including all sorts of things, whether it be barn doors, whether it be clamp types, all sorts of stuff. But the key is it's not displayed on the drawing, but it is attached to the block. Hope that's been useful. I'll see you soon.